What's going on, beautiful people, and welcome back to Peace of Happiness 101. And today we have another phenomenal video for you guys. Today's subject is one of the subjects that we definitely cannot do by ourselves, which means we don't want to only have a guy's perspective on it. Knowing that subject is such a difficult subject to talk about, we decided to bring a special guest to the channel. Her name is KaiKelly. She's gonna help us understand why a lot of women are against the idea of going 50-50 on the bills while being in a relationship. Hey Kai, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
I definitely appreciate the fact that you decided to give us a chance to talk about something so delicate, something that I believe that you've probably seen all over social media, and you probably had that conversation with other people, I don't know. But it's been something that I feel like instead of having me on the channel talking about it and give my personal opinion, it was needed to find someone, who could really give us what they think about that subject.
And yeah, it is. It's a big topic.
Yeah, I know. We try to jump right into it, knowing that this is such a big topic. So, ladies first, I want to hear exactly, coming from a woman's mouth, why is it such a big deal for a lot of women? Yeah, good.
I think there's a couple of things to be considered. So,
Okay.
Right now we're living in possibly one of the most expensive times in history, which makes the cost of living very high, and pretty much no matter where you live in the world. So you're dealing with a compounded issue of surviving, as well as trying to be in a relationship, and people trying to be smart about their finances. So it's a different time than it was back in the day, where someone could reasonably support and sustain their family off of, say, a factory job, or what people would call a good government job with benefits. We are kind of in a different time. The other part of it for me, and just for a little bit of background, I was married for 12 years. I have 3 beautiful children. So I definitely have experience with being married, as well as being single and dating. And what I see happening a lot is that people feel they don't want to be completely vested, if you will. So that feeling or breakdown of 50-50 is like, if it goes south or it doesn't work out, you didn't put your whole into the situation.
Financially speaking.
Right. So, no guy wants to be the guy that's been paying all the bills and holding everything down to find out that, his girlfriend or his wife has been cheating on him the whole time, or that the kid isn't his, or, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of things,
So it's like, oh, well, at least if one of those outcomes happens, I wasn't getting played.
Okay. You think that's basically what you think a lot of men think, or is it both ways?
I think, and I think women's liberation and women's feminism, the feminist movement, I think has definitely contributed to women feeling like, by contributing and by being a viable partner in that regard, that they are retaining and maintaining a level of control. And so if, back in the day, my grandmother had 6 children. And so back in the day, a man, ran the household. What a man said went, because he paid all the bills,
Of course.
So I think what's happening on the women's side of that is women are saying, well, I'm going to contribute so that I have more of a say. And I'm more, I can participate more in outcomes. I can decorate how I want. I can have my friends over when I want. I can do an equal amount of things, and it won't be like it's his castle and he runs it because he, pays everything and does everything for it.
I agree, definitely, coming from a woman, and that's why I felt like it was needed to get certain idea, have somebody to weigh in that. But my thing is, I also feel like there's different stages to that aspect. You know what I mean? I felt like if you are growing with a person, at some point there are ways that we shouldn't even be talking about 50-50. And the idea that some people could have in the back of their head thinking about, okay, you know what? I don't want to invest too much in this relationship because I don't want something to happen. I don't really go with that idea. I feel like if you're going to be in a relationship, it's best to dive in it and trying to see things through as you go, because the minute you get in a relationship thinking I'm not going to fully invest myself into the relationship because of the thought of something happened, I feel like you are going back into some baggage, some mental baggage, some things that have actually happened probably in your past relationship, which puts you in a very skeptical mindset, and that's probably gonna keep you from moving forward. Knowing that financials basically are very important in a relationship, I think there's definitely a stage to it. Let's say that you just started dating somebody, to moving into a house with somebody, or to even getting married with somebody. There are ways that each couples should definitely go about that 50-50 thing. Do I really think 50-50 is a bad thing? Not a bad thing, but I also feel like 50-50 could be a bad thing if you make it a bad thing. What you think?
I think 50-50 is a horrible thing.
Okay.
And I think it's a horrible thing because it really tears away at the fabric of what a committed relationship is supposed to be about. So I don't think, and I think 50-50, when we talk about 50-50 financially, I think where it doesn't translate for most women and where their frustration ends up being is that, yes, so now you are paying, half the bills, but, sis, you're also having 100% of the children. You're having, and whatever anyone wants to say, women have, we're always going to have a primary role with the children.
Of course.
That's the way we're designed. That's the way that it's supposed to be. So to think that because you're going to pay, 50% of a mortgage or 50% of the bills in a house, and that's going to somehow level the playing field, I think that it is a undercutting of the intention. So, and I want to back up a little bit because we spoke about relationships. So, I think 50-50 in a relationship, two people that are in a love relationship with the intention potentially of getting married, that 50-50 shouldn't exist, because at that point for me, it's a survivalist relationship, right? So it's not really, we're combining resources and living together because neither one of us really can afford to live on our own or chooses really to live on our own, and we're spending so much time together that why don't we have a place together? But in that scenario, and for me, if I live by myself and I'm paying $1,500 a month in rent and bills and expenses, it is moronic to me to then think that a man who also was someplace paying, $1,200 or whatever he was paying where he was at, is gonna come in money. And now he gets to pay $750. Right? He gets to pay $750 and he gets, live-in sex and home cooked meals and a clean house, and that's to me. I think that the women in that situation, even though the feminists are probably going to try to eat me up, I think the women in those situations do a disservice to themselves, because I think at bare minimum it should be either this figure combined, right? So then it really wouldn't be 50-50, because it would be like, I'm paying $1,500, you're paying $2,000 somewhere, and I'm not saying we should go out and get a $3,500 place, but it's then, if you're still bringing in what you were originally doing wherever you were already at, now we have a level playing field, if that makes sense. And I also think that men should be, I'm very big, and I know it's probably antiquated and old-fashioned, but I'm very big on providers. I was raised in a family of providing men, and I think that men especially men who are trying to build a life and a future with a woman, should be able to show, men can't hunt anymore, right? So they don't go out and bring back the meat. So the meat is the money.
The money, absolutely.
So they should be able to show that.
I think just like literature, a lot of things go as the generation that we are in is changing. What I'm trying to say is, for instance, like you mentioned, bring home the bacon, you cook the bacon, you run after the kids, and I go out there and do whatever I have to do to bring money to the house. That's way back, all right? Now, we also have to understand the age that we are in right now, the generation that we are in right now. It's not all about being just educated. There are so many ways that people make money, and there are so many ways that people could build themselves or to build a family into becoming something wealth that could last for generations. You know what I mean? Generational wealth. So my thing is, if we go back into starting to date somebody, from dating to being in a relationship, I think this is the type of conversation that both people should have. It's like, what exactly are you trying to do? For instance, if somebody is building a business, or somebody is basically trying to see beyond going to work 9 to 5. If we're trying to find something that's gonna help us establish a long path way after we are gone for our kids or grandkids, grandkids, it's gonna take more than just 9 to 5. That's why having that level of communication between the two of you as a couple is necessary. Babe, I'm not the 9 to 5 guy. I'm the type of guy who's basically trying to probably become an actor. I'm trying to build something that's going to be way more beneficial than just a paycheck every 2 weeks. And that aspect, this is what I'm able to bring right now, to the point where we won't have to even think about 50-50, because whatever business that we're going to have is going to help us take care of whatever the situation. That's why for me, the 50-50 idea has never been a big deal, and I've never really think about it to the point where it would even affect me. I'm already a provider. I'm okay. For instance, if you really think about most celebrities, I don't think, for instance, you have Dr. Dre, who's basically going through a divorce with his wife right now, and this thing, I feel like at some point it's gonna get really ugly. Why? Because I feel like the lady, I've actually spent time with him, and she's feeling as if she's not getting her work's worth. She doesn't feel like she's getting enough money, or I don't know. I feel like she's reaching a little bit too much. But what I'm trying to make of the subject is that while I'm building myself, I need you to understand that I'm opening chapters for you to build yourself as well. To the point where, by us having multiple businesses, by us establishing so many things, where 50-50, a divorce, or not being with each other will never ever hurt us financially. I don't know if you see where I'm coming from.
Yes. Yes, and I think the example we could use would be, Bezos. His wife. He was with his wife for like 25, 34 years. She was with him when he was in the garage, or whenever he started Amazon and didn't have anything, and he just very casually wrote her that check for the settlement, because he understood and when you have a certain level of money, at some point there's no level of loss. So I'm choosing you. I'm not choosing you because I need you to survive. I'm choosing you because I want to be with you. And if we don't work out, we're both going to continue to eat. So both going to be safe. Yeah, don't be ridiculous. Make it make sense. And I think that, as you said, with the the generations changing and things changing, the message that's being sent, I feel like it's a little disturbing. The message that's being sent, because it is positioning. You see, I know you've seen like the viral videos where the women are like, "What you gonna do for this PS5?" Where the message is being sent to guys that you can do the bare minimum. because
Yes.
I can take care of myself and I don't need you for
Yes.
anything. And
Yes.
if I want to be with you and get you a little PS5 and get you some Nikes, you should be happy and grateful that I did that. And I'm a boss because I'm able to do that, which really, for me, diminishes the value of the woman. It diminishes who we really are, and we are not, in fact, we can't act like we're equal, right? We cannot. I was just having this conversation about women correction guards, women correctional officers in the prison, and I said, well, I really feel like female correctional guards should be in female prisons and men should be in men prisons, because I'm 5'3". If I'm in a male facility and a 6'4", murderous convict, 350 pounds, wants to have his way with me, he's going to get his way.
Yeah, unfortunately, physically speaking, if we're talking about physical, you're definitely in trouble.
Yeah,
it's
not gonna. And I think the same. I think that, and so if we understand that we're not physically equal, right? We're not physically equal. Physically. You can't birth a baby. Then we have to go down the path and understand that there are many other ways that we are not equal. We don't process information the same. We don't process emotions the same. So yes, while the leverage has changed and women are able to be high income earners and have businesses and create their own generational wealth and not have to be in relationships in order to advance economically, while that dynamic for society has changed, we still have to be cognizant of the fact that we are, in fact, different, and embrace those differences and not look at it as someone stifling or suppressing you, because that's not really what it is.
And that goes right back to two things: foundations and communication. Like I said earlier, I feel like too many people jump into, I'll say, fairy tale feelings, honeymoon modes, to the point where they don't even sit down with each other. What is it? And that's why I made a video talking about, always ask people, what are your short and long-term goals? See where they are thinking ahead. See exactly what the person is trying to see. Do they have a concrete view of the future? Like, what is it that you're trying to do? A lot of people might say, oh yeah, we don't want to date dreamers. But to be honest with you, whoever stopped dreaming, you are not leaving. You are definitely just wasting your time. We need to have that talk. You just graduated from college. I understand. If you don't look for a job, it's not going to find you. Do you need a few certificates, a few licenses for you to start working on that? How are we going to tackle down those problems? Are you a business person? Have you already started your business? Are you in term to start it in the next year? What are the possibilities? How are we going to be able to buy our first house? What are the grind that you're going to put down? Are you going to put in work? What is it that you need to do so we could move forward with that relationship? Stop just jumping in a relationship and then require. Because the first thing, a guy who's self-made. And self-made is one of the most difficult things to do, because you are not waiting on a paycheck. You have to make that money on your own. This is you doing things every day. Both ways, men and women, anybody who's self-made could actually sit down and tell you all the areas in life that they have to go through in order for them to be who they are right now. A guy like that, whenever a woman comes in, it's like, oh, I don't want that 50-50 idea. It's gonna look at you like, okay, I guess we don't want to be together. Because in his mind is automatically gonna think that, okay, you're trying to get money. I don't think you really want this relationship, because you see this, you see that, nice car, nice houses, and from you getting into a guy who's basically self-made, I don't want any woman to just jump in and automatically think that this person's gonna take care of them just because they have more money than them. And that's the idea I want to, I really want people to think about. And there's nothing wrong with getting in a relationship and understanding that your partner could be richer than you are. But also understand that you have to put in work. You know what I mean? Do not just jump into the, he's got it. He's got it. He's going to take care of us, and that's it.
I mean, and I think that that's a mixture of the old philosophy. So, women were encouraged back in the day not to go to not to go to college. They were taught the tools that they needed as ladies in the house to acquire a husband, because that was the job. That was the career. Becoming a wife and a mother was a career goal, if you will. So I think that because times have changed, and when you talk about conversations that need to be had, people really need to understand that marriage is a contract. And much like when you sign a contract for a car or anything else in your life, you need to read the fine print, and you need to have some real serious clarity about the contents of what that relationship's going to be. So what might work for one person, at 15% interest might not work for another person that's only going to take 3% interest, right? So it's not the idea that there is one cookie cutter way to be in a relationship or to be married. However, it is the intention and the idea that deep communication has to take place before you make lifelong commitments, because what happens is these things rear their head in other ways. So I'll give an example of another celebrity couple, right? Deion Sanders, great athlete, phenomenal. He wanted a wife that was out of the limelight, that was not going to be doing anything but being a wife and a mother. He felt that he had the income, he had the career, he had everything under control. All I want you to do is come into this situation and be great. And they had 5 beautiful children together. But what happened was that she started to grow up. Her kids started to get bigger. She wanted to start doing some different things. That was not going to work for him. That was just not something that he was interested in. And he didn't want a wife that he was going to have to compete, where are the kids going to go tonight? And this, he didn't want to do all of that. And I think that if you're clear very early in the beginning, if you pay attention to the patterns that someone comes from, so what is their family like? Are the men in the family providers? Are the women in the family self-sufficient? When you pay attention to those patterns and you have those conversations, you'll have much more likelihood of success. And if a 50-50 situation works for you, then it works. But, really ask yourself, I think, in a lot of these cases, and especially for the young women, why does that work for you?
That's a good question. Why are you doing 50-50 really? That's one good point. Like, I feel like people are basically leaving out. Why are you doing 50-50? Are you doing 50-50 because you need extra money to buy that Louis bag? Are you doing 50-50 because you are being selfish? Are you doing 50-50 because that's how you've seen your parents do it? Are you doing 50-50 because both of you have 2 jobs and you are building a business? I feel like people are not thinking about it. If you're doing 50-50, that other 50, where is it going? You know what I mean?
If you're doing 50-50 with someone that was already able to do 100 by themselves, right? So someone who's doing 100 by themselves for years, nothing has changed. Except the fact that you've come into their relationship and you've come into the situation. Why now are they requiring you to contribute 50-50? These are things that I think are, for me, I can say from my personal experience, I was engaged after I was married, and I didn't pay rent. I did not pay, that was not my responsibility. Groceries wasn't even my responsibility, but I still contributed to groceries. I contributed to cable, I did things, but it definitely was not 50-50.
Was it beneficial enough to the relationship? Like, how did that affect you in some other ways? Because I feel like not doing 50-50 is one thing, but if not doing 50-50 is also hurting other part of the relationship, how is that really? And that's the thing. People are going crazy saying, I don't want to do 50-50. I want you to take care of everything. Is that person that's basically taking care of everything becoming a control freak? Telling me, hey, I need you to, get up. Babe, I just got to bed. No, I need you to get up and make me some coffee. I got to go to work.
Yeah,
That's the idea.
you better say that thing, because that's the other thing. So some women are not even clear that they're in situations that are abusive, whether it's
Abusive.
verbally, emotionally, psychologically, and it's because it's just like when someone says in the marital sense that they want to obey. Like Jenny Mae was being criticized for saying when she's officially married, she wants to obey and be submissive in her marriage.
Yeah.
And she was being criticized for that, and it was like, but the reality of the situation is submission is a woman's natural instinct in with a man that's a natural leader. So what happens is that a lot of women are submitting in situations with individuals who are not, full
Leaders.
men, right? They're not real leaders. So they want that submission, but they're leading you into the toilet,
They're not even. It's not even. They want that control.
Yes.
Let's just take submissiveness out of the box. They want that control. They want you to be the toy. It's like, yeah, hurry up, chop, 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 chop. You know what I mean?
Yes, and the women are doing it, and some of these women are giving more and more of the submissiveness, thinking that it's going to get them more, but it doesn't work like that with someone that's not truly, an alpha male and is truly not healed and whole. It's just not gonna. It's not going to happen. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the tools.
Having money doesn't mean that you are an alpha male.
No, it does not. You better say that one more time for the people in the back.
Having money doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you are an alpha male. That you just have money, because a lot of people, most men who have money, make poor decisions with it. I believe that there are definitely different ways to think about that 50-50 thing.
Yes, I think that I think that people have to do, ultimately, I think that people have to do what works for them. But I also think that it requires a level of soul searching and communication with yourself, as well as with the person that you're going to be with, to understand if
it's going to work.
Yes, because some people's ideologies, they just feel like they don't want to get ripped off, and you have to think about the value. Like I think as women, I think we are just so valuable. We are, the creators of the universe. We bring forth life. And I think that cannot be, there's no price tag that you can put on that. There's no price tag you can put on recreating human life. And there are people that, cannot have children or will never have children. And even still, the value of a woman in terms of our ability to multiply, our ability to create. We are still creators, even when we're not getting life. And so that is a intangible price, right? That can't be calculated on the mortgage payment. So I think that women, I would encourage the strong feminist, women to consider that, and not feel that they're being undermined, by being able to submit, by being able to be soft.
To the wrong or to the fake leader.
Right.
Communicating from the very beginning of the relationship is important.
Yes.
Talk about it. Talk it out. Talk it out. Don't just sit there and enjoying life or having fun with the person, not seeing things through. At some point, you need to sit down and have those conversations. Once you're done with that and whatever the person is telling you, you need to really, really think about what you're going to do in that relationship. If you decide to go 50-50, make sure there's a reason to it. Don't just go 50-50. Make sure there's a reason to it. I was listening to a guy the other day on YouTube, and he was talking about how him and his wife were able to build a business. 10 years later, they were financially free. They were able to build something to the point where they did not have to worry about bills anymore. To think of a man as an ATM is definitely not the good way to go, because a lot of men will be okay with you using them, but they'll use you. They'll use you even more. They'll basically affect you emotionally, physically sometimes. You know what I mean? Verbally, you'll be the little kid, and they'll have the kingdom. So this is definitely something that.
And we see that with the rap industry, you know.
Oh yeah.
The guys, the misogyny and the abuse that happens in the music industry with women, and you know, the women think that they're winning because they've secured a bag, and it's been a very expensive bag that they've acquired, and I mean emotionally, you know, and mentally. So I think
that costs more than money.
Yes, and there's things you can't get back, you know. So
you can't get them back.
I think that I agree that men are not ATMs, and I think the most important thing for everyone to consider is just working your best to be a whole person, right? And presenting to your partner a whole person, and your partner being a whole person, because when people are fragmented, and we all have life hurts, we all have things that we've experienced that impact and affect us and how we function with other people. But I think that when we're not actively doing the work of healing those hurts, we will drag them through. You know, it's like dragging a barbed wire behind us, and it just is scraping and destroying everything in its path. You know, and we have to be cognizant and conscientious that, you know, you're bringing a whole life, generations of thought processes and habits and behaviors and belief systems and a structure in your is what exists in yourself, and you're sharing that with another person with the same thing. So it's just really important to come to a place of understanding.
The problem in today's reality, so many people are trying to run after the bag, and for the kids that are watching, they automatically think this is the way to go. As a woman who basically dealt with things, what would be the best advice that you would feel comfortable telling anybody watching, especially to the younger generation?
I mean, this is my advice. My advice to youth is to evolve, to always be evolving, and you know, a moving target is hard to hit. So if you're evolving, if you're trying to be the best version of yourself, you're being resourceful, you're learning languages and skills that are going to make you a better person, you're going to encounter and interact with people that are going to be on the same path as you. And so it's going to be easier for people to speak your language. And when I say your language, I mean your personality. All of us are a language. And some people get us and some people don't. And when you're doing the things on this planet that you're destined and purposeful to do, you will meet, though you have no choice but to collide with the person that you're supposed to be with. So that's my true advice.
My advice definitely would be for both young men and young women watching this is to balance yourself. You know what I mean? Always make sure that you bring something to the table. Like, do not ever think that, you know, by going in a relationship just because of the fact that the person says he's got it, to let him have it, because there's always going to be a price. You don't know the person's mental. You don't know exactly what they've been through, because a lot of people won't tell you what they've been through really. You probably have to see it further down the road after spending some years probably having kids and realize that it's going to take more for you to just leave the relationship like that. Always bring something to the table, all right? Even if you're going 50-50, even if you're letting your men taking care of the whole financial situation in a relationship, make sure that you bring something to the table for yourself, for the relationship, and for the both of you, because it's gonna be needed regardless of who's the provider or not. So that basically concludes our interview. I'm definitely glad that you were able to squeeze us in and share some of the good thoughts that you had to deliver. We definitely hope to have you around, knowing that you also have a busy schedule. We're gonna post your Instagram in the comment below so people could check you out. She also has multiple books, multiple projects that she's working on. Definitely check her out. A link in her description is gonna be in the comment below or in the video's description. Definitely check her out. Kai, I know that I've already thanked you. I don't know how much I should be thanking you for giving us your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure and a treat
Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate all the likes, all the comments, all the things that you've done to support this channel. If you've liked the video, feel free to comment below. Let us know what you think about the video. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.